The Life of Aaravos. This video was made in collaboration with the Dragon Prince Wiki. For more information, check out the link in the description. Aaravos is a fallen Startouch Elf who is trapped inside of a magic mirror. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over the life of Aaravos, at least up to the end of Season 3 of the Dragon Prince. Early life. Aaravos was born at an unknown point during the era of the first elves, dating back 5,000 years before the birth of the Dragon Prince. He's an ancient Startouch Elf and an Archmage, who has a complicated relationship with humanity, elves, and dragons. Little is known about Aaravos' early life, though he was able to master the magic of all 6 primal sources, and dark magic. And he possesses the Key of Aaravos, a magical cube that unlocks a great power inside of Xadia. He presumably was an acquaintance of the former Sunfire Queen Aditi and claims to know the circumstances of her death. After the abandonment of the city of Alaran by the other elves, Aaravos aided the city's inhabitants, saving them from extinction. In a poem found in the Library of Catalus, he is implied to have contributed to the rise of dark magic within the city, and is glorified as its savior and benefactor. He was also present when the elves exiled the human race from Xadia. Being approximately 5,000 years old, Aaravos plays a significant enough part in history to be mentioned by several history books. However, at some point, he became so infamous, the other elves attempted to erase those mentions of him. When Viren attempted to read about Aaravos in a history book, the pages about him magically became unreadable. When Avizandum became king of the dragons, he imprisoned Aaravos behind a magic mirror, a feat that required some collaboration between archdragons and elves. In most circumstances, the mirror would appear like an ordinary reflective mirror, which ensured that others would not look in the mirror and see or communicate with Aaravos. Avizandum and his mate, Xadia, kept the mirror in their lair within the Stormspire, and it remained closer to where they slept than any other possession. After Viren and Harrow killed Avizandum, Viren ransacked his lair and brought the mirror back to Catalus. Unaware of who Aaravos was, or that the mirror trapped him, Viren and Claudia began casting numerous spells on the mirror, attempting to uncover its purpose. At first, with no success. Despite Aaravos being trapped behind the mirror and erased from history books, he was never completely forgotten. At some point, the Key of Aaravos came into the possession of the royal family of Catalus, and Harrow knew that it was once owned by an archmage and master of all primal sources. When Runan saw the magic mirror, he appeared to immediately recognize its significance, and expressed to Viren that he had indeed found a fate worse than death. Smoke and mirrors. Viren, having discovered that the mirror's secrets can be revealed in the darkness, places himself in the front of the mirror and waits for something to occur. While he falls asleep waiting, when he wakes up, he sees a fire has been lit in the fireplace. The Startouch Elf returns to the room, briefly searches for a book on the bookshelf, then retreats to the unknown outside. Sometime later, he returns. He approaches the mirror on his side. Viren raises a hand, and so does the elf, but only to fix his cloak. Viren assumes that Aaravos can't see him on his side. Eventually, Aaravos extinguishes the candles using sun magic, as well as his fireplace. Now in darkness, Viren realizes that Aaravos can see him as well. Aaravos places his hand on the glass, alerting Viren that they can now see each other. Voyage of the Ruthless. Since they can only see each other and not hear each other, Aaravos prepares a mystic ritual, guiding Viren along. He places a desk near the mirror and sets a box on it, then takes out the contents: a goblet, a cloth, some thread, a rock, a bowl, a pestle, and a fine dagger. He waves his hand over them, indicating that he wants Viren to get the same thing on his side. When Viren does so, Aaravos begins sewing a strange rune onto the cloth, and Viren imitates the motion, saying he had never seen a rune like that before. Next, he takes the rock and breaks it in two while covering it with the rune cloth, while Viren matches the action with the pestle. Next, the two grind up the amethyst-like gems inside and pour it into a goblet, and make a potion. Aaravos raises it like a toast, and drinks, indicating that it's not poisoned, with Viren following reluctantly behind. Aaravos then holds his hand over the goblet and touches the knife to his palm. However, Viren, unsure if the elf is trustworthy, hesitates to do the same, and leaves the room to think. When the human mage later returns, instead of performing the ritual with Aaravos, he instead covers the mirror with the cloth. Fire and fury. When Aaravos re-enters his study, he finds Viren waiting on the other side of the mirror, ready to finish the ritual. They both cut their palms and let the blood drip into their respective pots, before Aaravos releases a caterpillar-like creature from his mouth and drops it into the pot, transporting it to Viren's side. The caterpillar then crawls up Viren's ear, and Aaravos' voice issues from it, requesting the humans speak so he might hear him. Startled, Viren asks Aaravos' name. Aaravos expresses his relief at finally hearing another voice, and asks how he might serve him. The Book of Destiny. Now able to converse, Viren once again asks for Aaravos' name, but the elf insists it to be irrelevant. He also asks where Aaravos is, which he claims not to know. The human assumes Aaravos is lying, which he denies. Viren explains that he found the mare in the lair of the Dragon King and Queen, speculating that the mare and Aaravos were of importance to them. Aaravos admits that it was a possibility, and asks what Viren needs of him, finally telling his name when pressed. Viren demands to know why every book with Aaravos' name is distorted as soon as he looks at it. He demands a reason to trust Aaravos, to which the elf replies that he shouldn't trust him. At least, not yet. Breathe. Viren threatens to destroy the mare, throw it in a river, and cut Aaravos off forever. Unfazed, the elf promises that he won't, suspecting that Viren is too curious and hungry for the power and knowledge that he can provide. Aaravos offers to earn his trust, suspecting that Viren desires something very badly, yet he is faced with opposition. Viren confesses that he feels ignored by the rulers of the other human kingdoms, who fail to hear the importance of his warnings. So Aaravos suggests they get their attention. As night falls, Viren prepares a ritual to create smoke elves to terrorize the other human kingdoms, as Aaravos tells him that his attempt to win over the Pentarchy with loyalty and friendship had failed, and thus his only resort was to use fear. As Viren returns to his quarters, Aaravos warns him that the Crown Guard is coming to arrest him, and orders the mage to follow his instructions to the letter. He then channels his own magic through Viren against the Crown Guard, killing several before the mage is hit in the leg with an arrow. As the archers ready their arrows, Aaravos orders Viren to stand down, despite his allies' insistence that he could win. Suddenly, Aaravos vanishes from the mirror and his power is cut off, resulting in Viren being captured. Viren accuses the elf of betrayal, but Aaravos assures him that he will stay with him as the caterpillar crawls into the human's ear. Kinda like that scene from Wrath of Khan? Wait, wrong franchise. Ghost. After being imprisoned for some time, Aaravos whispers in Viren's ear to get up, seeing as he has visitors approaching. He sends a Sunray Monarch to Viren, which changes his appearance to a more healthy look. Viren's children, Claudia and Soren, arrive in the cell, and Claudia confronts Viren about his intention to have Soren kill the princes. Aaravos warns him not to tell the truth, as he could possibly lose her, as they will need his daughter's cooperation later on. The Midnight Desert. Sometime later in the prison cell, Aaravos forces Viren's eyes open, claiming that he will prepare the mage for greatness, and instructs him to be still as he forms a web over his open eye. Once finished, Aaravos' elven form is visible to Viren, allowing him to better serve him. Heroes and Masterminds. During a conversation between Claudia and Viren, Aaravos watches quietly, as Viren regains the trust of his daughter, then praises Viren for a job well done, as she will be a useful asset for their plans. After being corrected that she's not an asset, but Viren's daughter, Aaravos simply smirks. Thunderfall. Later on, a talk between Aaravos and Viren is interrupted by Soren, who asks if he should squash the elf's caterpillar form. After being told that Viren considers it a pet, Aaravos is dubbed Little Bug Pal by Soren. Aaravos mockingly asks his partner in crime if their relationship had grown to the level of becoming pals, without much response from Viren. While the Archmage sits to rest on his illusionary horse, he wishes to learn how a simple human managed to bring down the Dragon King, seeing as he was known as the most powerful creature in the world. He listens intently as Viren tells him how Avizandum was slain. Aaravos is delighted by the outcome of the story, and tells him that Avizandum is the reason why he was imprisoned for centuries, though he doesn't necessarily know where his prison resides. When Claudia comes up with a solution to cross the border, Aaravos is visibly delighted. Hearts of Cinder. Viren inquires with Aaravos what their next plans are, to which the elf replies that he only serves to fulfill Viren's dreams. These dreams turn out to be the flourishing of humanity and its bright future, rather than become Xadia's conqueror. However, Aaravos informs him that inevitably, conquering the nation cannot be avoided, and that their aim should focus on killing Zubeia, as well as capturing Ozymandias, as his essence may serve as an incomparable source of power. Before they can slay their enemies, however, they have business inside Luxaria, the capital of the Sunfire Elves. Since Viren can't fathom how they could defeat the stronghold without sacrificing an abundance of men, Aaravos reassures him that only one life has to be risked: Viren's. Aaravos has Viren pretend to know about the fate of Aditi, the grandmother of Kessa, the current Sunfire Queen, which grants them entrance into the city. While Viren is exposed to the Sunforge to rid him of any dark magic traces, Aaravos' caterpillar emerges from the mage's throat and leaps onto the Sunfire High Priest, biting him in the neck. The bite corrupts not only the priest's sunstaff, but the Sunforge as well, and allows Aaravos to take over the body of the priest. Now visible to the rest of the elves, Aaravos easily repels the guards and mocks Kessa's arrogance and foolishness, which he says resembles the mistakes of her grandmother. Aaravos steps closer to Kessa, teasing her with her grandmother's fate, before whispering something inaudible into her ear, leaving Kessa shocked, before a flick of his finger causes the Sunfire Queen to disintegrate. Aaravos hands the staff over to Viren and returns to their camp with him, where he witnesses Viren's army adapt to the newly obtained power. Aaravos' caterpillar, now the size of a snake, travels to the Stormspire on Viren's shoulder, while his spectral form rides by the mage's side. The final battle. While passing the petrified body of Avizandum and approaching the Stormspire, Aaravos prepares Viren for his intention to teach him how to harness Ozymandias' essence, which would allow Viren to transcend beyond the capabilities of his human form. During the gigantic battle against the allied forces, Aaravos remains on Viren's shoulder, where he witnesses the events unfold. Eventually, he sneaks inside the dragon's lair together with the Dark Mage, where Ozymandias is eventually chased and cornered on the Stormspire's pinnacle. Through a dark magic spell, Aaravos enables Viren to harness the desired essence, and proves almost successful even when Rayla ambushes them. Aaravos manages to react just in time before the assassin can attack Viren, and uses Viren's body to disarm the elf. However, he fails to predict Rayla's decision to tackle Viren off the edge of the pinnacle, and is thrown off with the mage's body, where he is eventually separated from Viren mid-air. After Claudia had revived her father and had hidden him away inside a cave, Aaravos is shown to have entered a metamorphosis inside a cocoon, which is described by Claudia to be changing. And that's all there is, so far, at least to the end of Season 3. We'll have to wait till Season 4 to see what the rest of Aaravos' evil plan is. Did you enjoy our video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of our latest videos.